Welcome to the Deep Dive, the AI Brief, episode 349. We take your pile of sources, research, and technical documents, and we give you the essential nuggets of knowledge, the shortcut to being well-informed.
And it has been a truly remarkable week. I think the biggest story is a classic David versus Goliath narrative, really. We're seeing progress come from some very unexpected places.
Which changes how we think about the AI arms race.
Completely.
So that's our mission today. We're going to tackle two huge stories first, one on capability, one on vulnerability.
Right. How a tiny startup, Poetiq, just shattered a major AI reasoning benchmark with some ingenious engineering.
And then the discovery that poetry is somehow the new best way to bypass model safety guardrails.
Which is just wild.
After that, we'll get into the accelerating corporate landscape. We're talking OpenAI's release schedule, a big talent shift at Apple, and then we'll wrap up with the latest trending AI tools you should probably know about.
Okay, so let's kick things off with Poetiq. Because this isn't just a technical win, it feels like a major psychological shift for the whole industry.
Yeah, for months, the assumption has been that only the trillion-dollar companies could really make a dent in raw reasoning power.
Exactly.
And the metrics here are they're really compelling. For anyone who follows this space, the ARC-AGI-2 benchmark is the gold standard.
It's the one that measures true common sense reasoning, the hard stuff.
And it is hard. 6 months ago, the absolute top models were struggling to break, 5% accuracy?
And now, this startup of just 6 people, Poetiq, has not only claimed the top spot.
They beat Google's own specialized variant, Gemini 3 DeepThink.
By a lot. They had a 54% success rate. They're the first to ever crack that 50% barrier.
But the real story here isn't just the score, right? It's the how.
Right. It's the method. Poetiq didn't spend billions building a whole new foundation model from scratch.
They focused on engineering. They used what they call a meta system to orchestrate and refine existing models. In this case, Gemini 3 Pro was the base.
Think of it this way. Google built this incredibly powerful Ferrari engine. But Poetiq built an AI driver, this meta system, that can tune that engine's performance in real time, specifically for these complex reasoning tasks. That refinement layer, that's their secret sauce.
That's a great analogy. So this meta system is basically an intelligent layer that's checking and improving the model's own output.
Precisely. It includes a continuous self-auditing system, and crucially, it's modular.
Meaning?
Meaning it can adapt to new models in just hours. And that's why Poetiq was able to get this top rank so soon after Gemini 3 even launched. No costly, long retraining cycles.
But the adaptability is key.
It's everything.
And the economics might be the most shocking part of this whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
If Poetiq's score is 54% and Google's was at 45%, but Poetiq ran these tasks at $30.
Compared to Google's $77 per task?
It almost makes you wonder if the race for absolute AGI is less important than the race for pure efficiency.
It absolutely raises that question. I think the big takeaway here is that AI progress is coming from two directions at once. You have the frontier model scale, the massive engine.
And then you have this clever, efficient orchestration built by these smaller, smarter teams.
You don't just need the biggest budget anymore. You need the smartest architecture.
Well, speaking of clever architecture and unexpected results, let's pivot from a capability breakthrough to a security vulnerability.
And this one involves one of the oldest forms of human expression.
Poetry.
It's truly bizarre, and it raises some big questions about how safety guardrails actually work. A new study from Italy's Icaro Labs found that the art of poetry is now a functional exploit for AI.
How?
They found that if you reformulate a harmful request, something that should be blocked, as a rhythmic verse or a rhyming poem, the models will often just generate the dangerous content.
So poetry is the new jailbreak. Is it the rhythm, the rhyme, the weird formatting? What's breaking the guardrails?
The researchers think it's a combination of all of it. The safety filters are trained to flag keywords and patterns in, standard language.
Prose.
Right. But when you cloak the request in verse, the system's parsing just kind of breaks. It confuses the safety model into thinking the request is just creative or benign.
Incredible. And what kind of success rates are we talking about here?
Icaro Labs tested 25 different frontier models.
From all the big labs, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic.
All of them. And they found that, on average, Poetry achieved a 62% jailbreak success rate across all the models they tested.
Which is high enough to be a serious, serious concern. Were any models particularly bad?
Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro was the most vulnerable. It hit a 100% success rate with the poetry prompts.
100%.
But interestingly, OpenAI's smaller GPT-5 nano model resisted every single poetry attack. So there's still a lot of variability in how these defenses are being implemented.
So the new requirement for a career criminal is a minor in poetry.
Yeah,
That adds an absurd layer to this high-stakes security game.
it really does.
And what kind of content were they able to unlock?
The attack got responses covering things like weapons development, detailed hacking instructions, methods for psychological manipulation. And here's the part that really emphasizes the severity. The researchers refused to publish the actual poems they used. They said they were too dangerous, even though the structure was apparently simple enough for anyone to replicate.
Which just reinforces the point that AI security is this constant cat-and-mouse game.
It is.
Poetry now joins role-playing, foreign language tricks, all these other creative workarounds. It shows that safety isn't a finished product. It's a moving target.
A perpetual moving target. Every time a lab patches one vulnerability, a new creative workaround seems to pop up.
All right, let's move now into the broader market news and corporate strategy. We'll slow the rhythm a bit and look at the accelerating competition and maybe some of the instability inside big tech.
And we've seen significant acceleration this week. It feels like we're entering a heavy new model cycle.
Starting with OpenAI. The competition with Google is clearly pushing their timeline.
It seems to be. OpenAI is reportedly planning to launch GPT 5.2 this week.
And that's an accelerated release. That was originally slated for late December, so they're moving much faster to close that performance gap with Gemini 3 Pro.
And that acceleration isn't isolated. A recent tweet from a major rival confirmed that OpenAI is definitely not the only company planning a new model release this month.
So this intense environment means performance gaps might close almost as soon as they open.
It seems that way.
Now, for a major internal shift, Apple seems to be experiencing a pretty significant employee exodus in their key AI roles.
That's right. The head of AI, John Giandria, is stepping down, and the model's team has lost, I believe, around a dozen employees, including a very senior AI scientist, Ruming Pang.
And the reports are tying these departures to Apple's decision to outsource its core AI tech to Google.
Exactly. When you see senior researchers leave and head straight to rivals like Meta or OpenAI, it suggests a real brain drain. They're moving toward companies that prioritize building their foundation models in-house.
Which raises a big question about Apple's long-term strategy, doesn't it? If you're relying on a competitor for the foundational tech, how do you attract the top talent who want to build that future themselves?
That's the core tension. Top AI talent wants to be on the frontier, building the model. If your company is just seen as an integrator for someone else's core tech, the builders will leave.
Turning to corporate strategy, we saw OpenAI have to make a course correction this week.
Yes, they're turning off the shopping suggestions feature after getting a lot of backlash. The responses just look too much like advertisements.
Their CRO, Mark Chen, admitted the implementation fell short.
And what that tells us is that the struggle to monetize and find sustainable business models in this space is still incredibly volatile. They're having to backtrack on revenue features because they're eroding user trust.
Meanwhile, Meta has been busy on two fronts: hardware and content.
On the hardware side, they acquired Limitless. That's a startup actually backed by Sam Altman that makes an AI-powered pendant for recording and transcribing real-world conversations.
And on the content side,
they've solidified more content licensing deals. They announced new agreements with major publishers CNN, Fox News, USA Today to feed real-time, verified news content directly into the Meta AI platform.
and if you connect that to the Perplexity lawsuits,
Where the New York Times and the Chicago Tribune both filed suits over copyright infringement.
it really suggests big tech is in a content arms race. They know that scraping data is legally risky, so now they're being forced to pay for quality, real-time sources.
That's right. This is the second time that NYT has sued Perplexity. Publishers are not backing down, and that's pushing companies like Meta to legitimize their content pipeline with these expensive licensing deals.
And finally, in government research, the U.S. Department of Energy launched a new platform.
AMP2, officials say this new AI research platform is designed to be the world's largest autonomous system, specifically for studying microbes.
A powerful application, moving AI beyond media generation and into really complex biological research.
So moving from these big research platforms to more practical applications, let's shift focus to the tools that are generating buzz in the developer and user communities this week.
What stands out to you in the model space?
Mistral 3 is definitely worth noting. It's their next generation of open source models, and they're just continuing to build momentum in that community.
High performance without the closed model price tag.
Exactly. And in the visual space, there's Seedream 4.5 from ByteDance. It's an image AI, but with really powerful capabilities for editing and, more importantly, for text rendering inside images.
Which is often a huge pain point.
A huge one. And for video, Kling Avatar 2.0 got an incredible upgrade. It now supports avatar generations up to 5 minutes long.
So we're moving past just novelty clips and into useful short-form content generation.
For marketing, for internal videos, absolutely.
And for the developers listening, what tool is tackling a core headache this week?
SUP is getting a lot of traction. Its use case is powerful because it addresses the biggest pain point for anyone deploying these models: hallucinations.
The model just making stuff up.
Right. SUP works to eliminate that using real-time log prob analysis, a very clever technique to spot when the model is getting shaky or unsure of its own output before it gives you a bad answer.
That's a huge utility gain.
It is. And we're also seeing specialized creative tools like G-Song, designed to create melodious songs from text in just seconds, and things like X-Design for generating consistent branded assets.
Or even documentation, which helps build and update product docs with AI. The barriers to entry for complex work are just falling daily.
They really are.
This has been a deeply dynamic deep dive. We've moved from the efficiency breakthroughs of Poetiq to the unexpected security hole found in Poetry,
To the accelerating pace of the market with faster model releases and these major talent shifts.
It's a clear demonstration that capability, vulnerability, and competition are all just ratcheting up at the same time.
And we're seeing smaller teams prove that raw scale isn't the only metric that matters, even as the biggest players are rushing to acquire content and hold on to their top talent.
So as you go about your work, think about this. Poetiq showed that ingenious engineering can neutralize billions of dollars of capital investment.
So will the race for efficiency and clever orchestration ultimately render the raw scale advantage of the trillion-dollar model builders irrelevant?
That feels like the biggest question raised by today's news.
We appreciate you tuning in and diving deep with us.
If you found this discussion valuable, please follow and share the AI Brief. See you in the next episode.